What is IBS? I remember a friend telling me about it, and their definition struck me before I knew I had it, which was probably 10 years ago or more, 12 years ago, 13, I don't know. She was a lovely lady, and she tells me at church one day, yeah, she's struggling with some IBS symptoms, and I'm like, oh, okay, what is that like? What is IBS really? And she said to me, well, sometimes my digestive system goes too fast, and then sometimes it goes too slow. And I found it very striking, and I'm like, that sounds like what my digestion system does. But I'm going to actually read out this fact sheet from the Canadian Psychological Association that I got in the mail as a result of talking to my doctor and requesting a referral to a psychologist to help me with my gut. And yeah, let's just jump into it, shall we? What is irritable bowel syndrome, IBS? Symptoms of IBS include pain or discomfort in the lower abdomen below the belly button area and changes in bowel habit that involve frequent, urgent diarrhea or constipation. Bloating is another common symptom. IBS is a medical disorder that primarily affects the lower gut or large intestine, which is one part of the gastrointestinal tract, GI tract. Yeah, the GI tract. Urgent diarrhea or constipation, these are things that people often associate with IBS. I remember watching a show, 30 Rock, with Tina Fey, and there was this guy that was wooing all the ladies at the spin cycle class, and then one day they turn on the lights and realize that he's actually wearing a diaper, and everybody's super turned off by this guy, and it made me really uncomfortable, because I'm like, but I have IBS, and that was the joke, that he has, IBS is real, people. And I just want to say that just because you have IBS doesn't mean that you have to go to the bathroom all the time, or that you have urgent diarrhea all the time, or constipation all the time. My IBS is kind of mixed instead of one or the other, and it just basically has trouble doing normal everyday things, the kind of bowel movements that other people might have. For some reason, I still get like a ton of bloating and a ton of pain and fatigue as a result of that. So now that I've finished my little personal ramble there, let's go on to the second paragraph here. IBS is understood to be a problem of the functioning of the gut. It is thought to occur because of communication problems between the brain and the gut. Research suggests that people with IBS experience abnormal gut motility, changes in the rate of contractions of the gut muscles, so cramps as part of that, and enhanced visceral sensitivity, an increased sensitivity to gas or sensations from routine activities that occur in the bowel. More recently, there has been some attention to the role of the gut flora, bacteria that live in the GI tract, and whether changes to this flora affect the way the gut does its job. So the middle of that paragraph there, the way that the increased sensitivity to the normal routine activities that occur in the bowel, I would say that's definitely where I'm at these days. It seems like my gut is just super sensitive to the smallest little bit of stuff going on in there. I also have been tested for bacterial imbalances and have been positive, and that has been really difficult to deal with, much like most people that test positive for that. Specifically, that is SIBO, small intestinal bacterial imbalance. I don't remember what the O stands for. Anyway, moving on. It is not clearly understood what causes IBS. For some people, it begins in childhood with a sensitive stomach, the very words my doctor used when I was a child. He told me to stay away from red food coloring. Wasn't helpful. All right, that develops into more intense symptoms as an adult. For others, the GI problems start suddenly during a period of stress or persist after infection in the bowel. IBS is diagnosed based on the presence of symptoms described above in combination with the absence of other red flag symptoms such as weight loss or bleeding. I hope you're getting the sense that it's a combination of many things. It's not just genetics, it's not just stress. Yeah. IBS is very common. It is estimated to affect up to 1 in 5 Canadians. It often starts in young adulthood and occurs much more frequently in women than men. It is the second most common reason for missing work and is one of the most common reasons that people visit their doctor. In Canada, IBS has been estimated to cost over 350 million in direct and over 1 billion in indirect healthcare and productivity costs each year. While the impact on society is quite significant, IBS can be very challenging for the individual. Pain, cramping, or urgent trips to the washroom may interfere with work and home activities. The bloating, gas, and urgency can be embarrassing, so people often suffer in silence. I'll tell you what I'm not going to be. Not going to be silent about my symptoms. So, yeah, when I have a fairly normal, regular bowel movement, once or twice a day or something like that, I tend to be completely winded and out of breath and need to lie down. Hence the trip to the washroom and then losing productivity. Many people think certain foods must be the culprit, but there is little evidence to support the idea that IBS is related to food allergies. Once IBS develops, however, the bowel is overreactive to or easily triggered by a variety of factors, including diet, stress, emotional state, and even hormone fluctuations. Yep. Stress does not cause IBS. I'm going to read that one more time. Stress does not cause IBS, but it does appear to play a particular important role in triggering IBS symptoms, likely because of the close communication via nerves and chemical pathways between the brain and the gut. In fact, 2/3 of healthy individuals without IBS report GI symptoms of pain or bowel upset in response to stress, and the numbers are even higher for people with IBS. So just because it is definitely a factor doesn't mean that it is the cause. It is a part of causes. I mean, having an infection, having COVID is something that can stress your body out, and then you end up developing IBS. That's something that one friend has told me has happened to them recently. Research suggests that both acute stressors, such as deadlines, exams, job interviews, or conflict with others, as well as chronic stressors, such as financial concerns, time pressures, or family issues, can aggravate the gut. Yep. Yeah, it's very much. I like the fact that this definition gives you an overview of the physical and the mental, and then even just kind of the hormonal and nervous system factors all playing a part. And that it's not just like a matter of genetics kind of thing. You're born likely with a predisposition for it, and then something ends up triggering it down the line. But people can very well be born with the same genetics and never experience it, and all that kind of fun stuff. At least that's my understanding. The handout that I've got here goes on to talk about what treatments can be helpful, and it's not just all doom and gloom. What things are effective. It talks about the FODMAP diet, which I am an adherent to for a number of years now, as well as psychological treatments such as cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which I have done some of, and I'm probably going to do more as part of this referral. And things like relaxation training. I have also found that meditation practices definitely are helpful, and keeping trying to mitigate the stress that I feel before it becomes something that drags on too long and kind of works its way into my gut all the more. That if I let myself process my stresses regularly and more often, that I have less problems with my IBS. So yes, psychology is a good one. It actually basically goes on to say that medical treatments such as fiber supplements, antispasmodics, gut motility agents, and medications that act on biochemicals such as serotonin in the GI tract and central nervous system are conventional methods, but at this point, reviews of the effectiveness of the medication treatments have concluded that they are helpful for small subsets of people with IBS, but have been disappointing overall in their impact. In other words, it definitely works for some people, and you hear that a lot when you have IBS. I find that a friend of mine just told me not that long ago that they had some IBS, must have been very concerning for them. They used an expensive uh, probiotic and found that that specific probiotic took it away for them. They totally were healthy as long as they were on it, which is great. But the thing is, it seems like no supplement and even no doctor's prescribed medication will actually be effective for everybody. There are just kind of these limited results from limited people. And that just seems to be the beat of it. And it goes on to talk about how psychological treatments are generally effective for a much wider range of people compared to these other attempts of treatment and that kind of thing. So there you have it, a big overview of what IBS is and what treatments are like, what the experience is like. It's like it says early on there, a big part of it is just the pain, the cramping pain that you can get in your gut and the bloating that has this like low level, long-term kind of pain that I find just sucks the energy right out of you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.